Hello and welcome to the new video. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah and today I will be reading more books from my self-destruct trolley. We made it to episode 2. I hope you've watched episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it. In episode 1, I have managed to read 5 books out of my 25 book collection on this self-destruct trolley, and now it's time to pick up another book that I want to read for this challenge. And in my head I'm thinking, shall I go for something that's an easy unhaul? I've got a massive TBR for this month, and I was wondering if I go for something that it's a guaranteed DNF, then it's going to be easy. I picked 3 books here, so I might even start reading all 3. I will say in which order, but one of them is Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, and I think this is a dark romance. I feel like this is going to be an easy DNF and an easy unhaul. I am almost finished reading another book on my Kindle, and I think this is on KU, so I think maybe I would pick this up and read at work and also probably read it at home as well. But I think this is going to be one of the easy picks. This is going to be pretty much a guaranteed DNF and a guaranteed unhaul, so that's that. I also have John Collins, Behind the Shoulder Pads. This is not a guaranteed DNF or unhaul, but it's a memoir and it's under 300 pages, so I think it's going to read quite fast because these usually read fast, memoirs and stuff. And the third option that I have is Book 1 in the Chestnut series by Elsie Silver, and this is Flawless. And again, this is small town romance, and I feel like this would be so good because if I DNF this, or if I don't enjoy this, if I give this anything 2 stars or less, I'm DNFing the series. I think this is what I'm gonna do. 2 stars or less, DNFing the series. So yeah, I think it's safe for me to pick this one up. And now the choice. I think I'm gonna do any, meeny, miny, mo, honestly, because I have no idea what I want to read. Let me see what's on Kindle. Okay, turns out 2 of them are on KU. Like I thought, Haunting Adeline and Flawless by Elsie Silver. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with Haunting Adeline because I think it's an easy pick. I think this is going to be definitely a 2-star or a DNF even. So let's start with Haunting Adeline. Haunting Adeline has a 3.96 star rating on Goodreads. Wow. I actually don't know what the plot is because I think the synopsis that's here on Goodreads is literally the same as what it says at the back of the book. The manipulator. I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. I will make you hurt, make you cry, make you laugh and sigh. But my words don't affect him, especially not when I plead for him to leave. He's always there, watching and waiting, and I can never look away, not when I want him to come closer. The shadow. I didn't mean to fall in love, but now that I have, I can't stay away. I'm mesmerized by her smile, by her eyes and the way she moves, the way she undresses. I'll keep watching and waiting until I can make her mine. And once she is, I'll never let her go, not even when she begs me to. Don't know. So that's that. 583 pages. Okay, anyway, so this will be the first book of the episode 2 of reading my self-destructing books. I will see you when I'm approximately 25% in or 50% in, or depending how I feel. Good luck to me!
losing who I call myself today. In this world of illusions, didn't dare to sing my name.
My people, I come to you to tell you that I have finished reading Haunting Adeline, and I finished it at 33%. Basically, I DNF'd this book on page 195. I've read this much and I've had enough. And my question is, why are we even allowing for books like this to be published? It's so bad because in my eyes, books like this romanticize that kind of a behavior, stalking behavior, aggressive behavior, violent behavior against women, and idolizing women like Adeline as well. And I just can't wrap my head around this fact. So this book is about Adeline. Adeline is a writer, and she moves into a house that she inherited after her grandmother passed away. And during one of her book signings, there is a man, don't know his name, Shadow, whatever. His chapters are titled Shadows. I didn't get to the point in the book where we were actually introduced to him as a character, or maybe we were, but it just skipped my mind. I'm not very good with names. So anyway, Shadow is a vigilante. He's a very wealthy man who takes it upon himself to get rid of bad people in town. And he is a hacker, and he's got people working for him and whatnot. And after one of his jobs, he walks past this bookshop where Adeline is doing book signing, and she catches his eye, and he doesn't do anything like a normal person would do, approach her, chat to her, introduce himself or whatever. He decides to stalk the shit out of her. So he turns up at her doorstep. He somehow gets, well, he's a hacker, so he gets her phone number, starts sending her with fucking messages. He turns up at her house, leaves flowers, drinks her alcohol, whatever, and he spies on her when she's having when another man is going down on her in her flipping conservatory, or her patio, or whatever you call it, conservatory I'd say. So this man is going down on her in her conservatory, and he's standing outside and he's watching them, after which he somehow manages to get this man to come outside and chops his hands off, and then after which tortures him and chops him into pieces. And the whole book is like this. And Adeline doesn't report him to she does, but the reports go missing because obviously he's a hacker, so he has access to everything. And at some point she just stops reporting him to the police, and she starts playing this game with him, replying to his messages and even flirting with him. I stopped this book because I've had enough. There was a scene when he gets in her house and he messages her while she's downstairs, and she's trying to be this tough whatever, and then I don't know, there's so many things that are so contradictory to her character. Like, the person that wrote this book describes her in some places as the strong woman that doesn't give a flying fuck about what people think about her or whatever, and then suddenly she's this weak woman that doesn't know what to do or whatever. And it's just like contradictions like this that don't feel good to me. And during a scene where he gets inside her house, she's messaging him, and she knows he's in her house, and he kind of challenges her, he dares her to go and find him, and she does. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking find you, blah 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 blah, whatever. And then she sits on the armchair and she starts crying, and then she goes and finds him. It literally, this duology or whatever it is called Cat and Mouse, and it literally reads like cat and mouse. These two characters are cat and mouse. But what kind of like put me off a lot was there was this scene when he approaches her and he kind of pushes her against the wall and he kisses her or whatever, and she's holding a knife and he grabs the knife by the blade, knowing that he will bleed the fuck out on the fucking stairs, right? But he still does that. Who in the right mind does that? You could have grabbed her wrist, squeezed her fucking arm so she drops, because apparently he's tall, big, handsome, dark, whatever. He's strong. His muscles are rippling under his t-shirt and stuff like that. So if you're so strong, surely you can grab her by her wrist and squeeze the shit out of her arm and she would drop the knife. No, he goes for the blade and he squeezes the blade and he pulls out the knife out of her hand, bleeding the fuck out on her stairs. And it's just...
Why? Why?
This is my question. Why? Why would you write something like this? It just makes no sense to me. My other problem with this book is this character. He literally thinks he's God's gift to Earth and humanity and whatever. Like, he is so full of shit. And Adeline, the same thing, because there is one point where she hears something in her house. So apparently she sleeps naked, okay? And she hears this thing in her house and she gets out of her bed and she grabs a knife and she walks around naked looking for the intruder. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think men are more likely to sleep commando than women. Also, I think if you had, even if you were sleeping commando, whatever, if you heard that there is possibly an intruder in your house, you would get something on, even if it's just a fucking t-shirt. I feel like men writers, men authors usually write stuff like this. And this coming from a woman, I think H.D. Carlton is a woman. It's very, very strange to me. Yeah, I don't know why she did that. No idea. The other thing is Addie. Addie is a non-believer. So she pisses me off so much when every other paragraph she calls God, oh, God help me. And also the fact that she calls God a woman. Like, I don't care. You can, if you think God is a woman, fine. If you think God is a man, fine. If you think God is a square, fine. If you think God is a circle, fine. I don't really care. What I care about is, if she's obviously an atheist, she would not be calling God to help. She'll be calling universe. So see, stuff like this, inconsistencies, that rubs me the wrong way. I feel like she gives women a very bad name. I could not stop but cringe reading the less than 200 pages that I've read. And I don't know if this book was going towards the submissive dominator kind of relationship. I have no idea because I DNF'd it at 33%. But if it did, then I think there are other ways to kind of give this relationship a sub and dominator flair kind of thing, whatever, however you can call it. Yeah, I don't know if it was going in that direction, but if it was done shit. It was absolutely shit. Yeah, this coming from a, I don't know. I DNF'd it. I hated this book. Absolutely hate this book. And I never rate books that I DNF. But I feel this one deserves to be DNF'd. I rated it 1 star. And the reason I rated this book, because I feel like people who DNF this book need to get their shit together and start lowering the rating for this book. This book has 3.96 rating on Goodreads. 3.9, or nearly 4 stars on Goodreads. And I feel if people don't put those low ratings for this book, it just makes people like myself believe that this book is actually worth a read. This book is shit. This is one of the worst books I have mispleasure to read in my entire life. Please, I beg you, go, if you've read it and you DNF'd it, go back and please rate it 1 star. This book deserves to be low rated. Please. Please. Anyway. That was my vent on Haunting Adeline, and now I have to pick up another book. The next book I will be reading for this episode of my Self-Destructing books is Travis by Mia Sheridan. And when I read last year or a couple of years ago, I have a little fly. I've read Archer's Voice, and I think I liked that book because actually, what did I rate it? Let's see. Okay, so in my review, I said 3 stars. It was okay. It started interesting, but as the story progressed, it became more and more predictable. Towards the end, I found myself skimming the pages, and yeah, that's what really happened. And I actually can't remember the end of this book, but it was about this girl that arrived in this town, and she started working in this diner, and she met this guy Archer. Archer's biological father was actually a father of Travis.
Okay, I get confused. Okay, so Archer and Travis. Travis's father was also Archer's father, and he was in love with Archer's mother, and then Archer's father husband.
Anyway, I get so confused. So anyway, so in book 1, Archer's Voice, we follow Archer and his love story with Bree. And then in book 2, we follow Travis. So he's a chief of police, and he was also interested in Bree. So in this book 2, we'll be following Travis. And I think this is why I picked this book, because I've read book 1, Archer, and now Travis was a logical choice. It sat on my bookshelves unread, so I think it's about time I give it a go. Also, this is available on KU, so I will predominantly be reading this on my Kindle at work, and yeah, maybe downstairs. When I'm downstairs, this book will be downstairs. My other books that I read at bedtime are here. My other books that I read not at bedtime are downstairs, and so yeah, on my Kindle at work and probably downstairs. That's the plan. So this is again contemporary romance, as you can imagine. I don't know why I picked it up, honestly. If Archer was only 3 stars, never mind, we will see. At least one book it was successful because it was a DNF, so we will see. Fingers crossed, we'll be able to cross it off the list of my self-destructing books list. Hello, don't mind me. I literally just came back from work. I look so tired, and also I think, you know, this storage for mucus here for your sinuses. I think I have a little infection going on because this part of my face have been feeling quite warm to touch recently, and it feels a little bit tender. I had a nice long meal break today, and I have been reading. I'm reading Travis, and I'm on page 118. Yes, out of 303. And I am getting so bored. Like, I don't want to DNF it, because it's not bad, but it's just so slow. Nothing is going on. I think my problem with books is, in general, that I am so used to reading something scary or something fast-paced or thrilling, that when I don't get that, I get bored with the book. And this is a contemporary romance. So this story is cute. It's this girl, Heaven, and her brother Easton. They're kind of like on a, not road trip, but they're traveling across America. They're kind of going from place to place, and they stopped in this town, and she catches an eye of Travis, and it seems like they like each other a lot. And I don't know, it's kind of like back and forth between them. So they said they're friends, but you know, we all know that there's something more to it. And I don't know, it's so slow. Yeah, it's making me feel very tired reading this. I don't want to DNF it though, because I want to find out what is Haven and Easton running away from, because also it seems like they're running away from something. I guess You will hear from me when I finish with it, when I either finish with it or when I finish it. I think we need to do a little update. I am reading Travis still. Not even halfway, 118 pages. It's I don't know, this is not my type of a book, and I'm gonna give it a little bit more because I don't hate it, but I don't want to pick it up. This is what's happening. I'm not finding myself willing to pick it up. So we'll see how it goes. But today I had some hours left on BookBeat, and I decided to pick up another book that was on my self-destruct trolley, and I started listening to that one. And this is John Collins, Behind the Shoulder Pads, and so far so good. I'm having a brilliant time. I've listened to 5 chapters of this book. This book is narrated by John Collins herself, and the stories that she's talking about in this book is mostly to do so far with how she was treated as a young actress in Hollywood and even in a theater when she started. There's a little bit about her childhood, when what she was up to with her sister and stuff like that. But mostly now we're kind of following, in those 5 chapters, we followed her stories from the time when she was a very young actress in Hollywood and how the women were treated not in a very nice way by men. So I feel like she's spilling the beans a little bit, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time with this book, so we'll see how it goes. I had 4 hours left of audio. I think this is an 8-hour audiobook on BookBeat, so when my hours finish, I will be reading this physically. I can see myself finishing this book and enjoying it because, do you know what? I love John Collins. When I was a little girl, I used to watch with my mum Dynasty. Every Sunday afternoon we had Dynasty on the TV playing. And this is how I perceive John Collins. I don't necessarily know her from anything else but from Dynasty. And I always see her as Alexis. And I don't think this will ever change. But I'm enjoying listening to her stories. And I think this book will be a winner. Hello, I have an update. I'm still reading Travis. I am on page 174, so I'm way past the 50% mark. Surprisingly, I'm enjoying it. And I think I started enjoying it more the minute I started reading it physically. Because before, I was reading it on my Kindle, and I think the fact that I was only reading it at work, and so half an hour on my meal break, I couldn't get into the book because obviously I haven't sat with the book and with the characters for long enough to feel engaged. But I actually now I enjoy it. Yesterday I read it for a bit. I think yesterday I've read I've read a good amount of pages yesterday, and right now I've just read another 20 pages or so, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give you an update because I'm actually enjoying it. It is a romance, and it's kind of like your typical romance, so I'm not gonna go into the details, but the fact that I'm still reading this book, I'm a little bit amazed with myself. So hopefully I'll finish this sooner rather than later, and I will get back to you and I will let you know. But I also love how my bookmark tassel is matching the cover. Yay! I look tired, and I have to admit, a little bit I am. We went to bed about 3 o'clock last night because we were playing Lego games until 3 a.m. So it's not the best. We are just heading out to the gym, but this morning I have finally finished reading Travis by Mia Sheridan, and surprisingly I enjoyed it. I think if I was rating half stars, I would give it 3.5 stars because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. To me, it kind of feels like any other contemporary romance where you have 2 people coming together, then you have the typical 3rd act breakup, and then the typical happy ending. And I think this is why I don't read romance books that much, because to me they all kind of like samey. regardless of that fact, I didn't hate it. I actually had a pretty decent time reading this book. I did skip a couple of chapters, and it's purely because there were smutty chapters, and I don't know, I just don't fancy reading smut. And yeah, but apart from that, I didn't mind this book. I didn't hate it. Like I said, it's a decent book. I didn't hate it. Right now I feel like my brain is fried, and I don't want to pick up another romance book. So I think when I finish reading Joan Collins' Behind the Shoulder Pads, I have 3 hours of audio left on BookBeat, which I can use towards this book, and then I'll just keep reading it physically, and maybe I will pick up another book via audio. We're going to head out to the gym, and I will continue with my self-destructing books later on. Excuse the look, I literally just came out from the shower, and then I was showering, and I was thinking that I think it's about time to update you all on the reading progress. So I'm still reading Joan Collins' Behind the Shoulder Pads. However, I am reading this via audio because this book is read by Joan Collins, and I really enjoy the narration. And I have this on BookBeat, and I had this limited offer of 20 hours per month, and I have run out of my hours halfway through the book. So my hours renew in a week, so I will be still picking this up in a week's time via BookBeat, because I actually really enjoy the narration. I enjoy all the stories that Joan Collins said so far. And then another offer that I took advantage of, Kindle Unlimited for 3 months, but only paying like 99 pence per month. So that offer is running out on the 31st of March. And one of the books they had on KU that are also on my self-destructing books trolley is Grayson's Vow by Mia Sheridan. And today I've read about, I think I started it yesterday, but I only read like 10 pages. And today I got up to like 20% of the book, and I'm actually having a really good time. And what it is this girl Kira, and she is a daughter of a very rich man, but she got into trouble, and she doesn't want to get any money from her dad and whatnot, and her grandma passed away, and she left her, I think, $1 million, something like that. She will get this money when she turns 30 years old, or when she gets married, whichever comes first. And then we have this guy, so Kira, and then we have this guy, Grayson. By the way, this guy is called Grayson Hawthorne, and when I first read his full name, I was like, what the hell? And I had to check which one was the first. Was it the hen, or was it the chicken or the egg? And I think this was the first, because this book was first published in 2015. But it's so strange to read another story, another book with a character that has the same name as Jennifer Lynn Barnes' character in the Inheritance Games. There was another Grayson Hawthorne there. So, and the same thing, where's the sword, whatever. The first thing that we see Grayson here in this book, where's the sword? It's in a bank. So you kind of think like businessman and whatnot. But it's a little bit misleading, because Grayson actually here is in financial trouble. He inherited a vineyard from his father, and he is struggling to keep it running. So the first scene was actually in a bank when he was refused a loan. At the same time, Kira was in a bank withdrawing her savings. She overheard a conversation where where Grayson was refused the loan. What happened later, she was sitting in her car thinking like, oh, where's she gonna sleep tonight and whatnot, and then she saw him. She researched him. He's very handsome and she feels very attracted to him. And basically what happened is she approached him like the following day. She came to see him in his office. She suggested they marry. She explained why she wants to marry him, and basically it's supposed to be a business deal. After a year of marriage, they're gonna divorce, and he's gonna get half of the money that she's supposed to inherit from her grandma, $500,000, so he can bring his vineyard to like working condition again. So yeah, so they decided to go for it. And yeah, we're literally just before the stage of them getting married. And what I want to say, it reads so fast and there's so many funny moments. I feel like Kira has got this. Kira can be very sarcastic, but she's also very funny with her sarcasm, and I don't know, she's just a funny character. I love her. And yeah, so far so good. I'm having a good time with it. Do you know what, I'm actually shook to say that I'm enjoying Mia Sheridan's books. And yeah, I have 2 more over there, so hopefully I will be able to maybe put them in this vlog as well. We shall see. But yeah, so far so good. So far so good. I will probably catch up with you next time when I finish John Collins' memoir, and then when I finish Grayson's Vow. So take care and I'll see you soon. My people, I just finished listening to Behind My Shoulder Pad, Stories I Tell My Friends by John Collins, by Dame John Collins. And oh my gosh, I had such a good time. I know there are people that say, oh, I don't rate memoirs because you can't put the rating on someone else's life. Whatever rocks your boat, girl, okay? I don't care. I rated it 5 stars. I had a really good time. I remember John Collins from The Dynasty when I was a little girl. My mom used to watch it every Sunday afternoon. I would watch it with her, and that's my entire idea of who John Collins is. John Collins is. This woman, she's done so much in her life. Like, I literally had no idea that she was in theater and, you know, all the things that she was doing. And she's sharing all these stories, and she's sharing some stories even when she was like in financial troubles, and like this certain one of her partners or husbands, like how he pretty much stole all her money. And you know, she's all these emotional challenges and financial challenges that she's gone through, that us mere mortals, we think these people don't have these things, or don't have to deal with these things. And it was just such an eye-opener. But what I loved about this book is the fact that John Collins narrates this book herself. There is few bits where her current husband says stuff. And by the way, did you know that Percy, I'm not sure what his surname is, Percy, John Collins's husband, is 30 years younger than her. And I feel like some people might think it's so outrageous, but it just shows, and they've been married for 23 years. And it just shows that it doesn't matter what age you are or what age your partner is, you can find love. And it was just so nice, and I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed listening to the tales told by John Collins, and I actually had a really good time listening to this book. And yeah, it's a 5-star book for me. Also, I'm currently reading still Grayson's Vow, and I have about 150 pages left, and I'm having such a good time with this book. But I was thinking it would be nice to pick another book, and recently I have taken out a trial for Libro.fm or something like this, and the offer was, if you join for $7.99 you get 3 credits in the first month. So One of those books that I have used my credit for was Laura Purcell, Bone China. I need an audiobook to listen to, so I'll be reading this via audio. The other two books that I had my eye on, they were higher rated than this one on Goodreads, so I decided to go with the lower rated book. And also this is the book that had been on my TBR the longest, so I think it's going to be good to either listen to it and get rid of it, finally tick it off, or maybe even DNF it. I don't know, we shall see. I generally like Laura Purcell's writing. I've read The Corset by her, and I have read recently Moonstone, and I liked both of these books. I know she's done more, but these are the two that I've read so far. But yeah, I'm gonna have a go at this one, and this will be an audiobook. I think the audiobook is about 11 hours, but I listen on, I think, 1.5, 1.75, depending on the narration, because sometimes, you know, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just listen on 1.5 because I want to pay attention, and you know, depending on the book and depending on the narrator, I might change the speed of the audio. So yeah, I'm gonna go for this one. Laura Purcell writes gothic historical fiction, kind of like sometimes a little bit scary. So yeah, let's have a go with this one, and I will probably chat to you when I finish Grayson's Vow and this or this. Okay, wish me luck, and I'll chat to you soon. I have just realized that I didn't tell you what this book was about. Okay, so I don't know what this is about, but I'm gonna read the synopsis. Malvern House, Cornwall. Consumption has ravaged Louise Pinecroft's family, leaving her and her father alone and heartbroken. But Dr. Pinecroft has plans for a revolutionary experiment to relaunch his medical career. 40 years later, Hester Y arrives at Malvern House to take up a position as nurse to the now partially paralyzed and almost entirely mute Miss Pinecroft. Hester has fled to Cornwall to try and escape her past, but she soon discovers that her new home may be just as dangerous as her last. And what happened so far? So Hester, she is on a coach from London to Exeter, I think, and it's during the winter, and there's an accident and someone falls off the roof, and it seems like they have broken their leg. So Hester seems like she's got a lot of medical knowledge, because she's like, she knows what to do, basically. I would have no flipping clue. She knows what to do. So this is what this book is about Hester. So yeah, I will catch up with you 50%, let's say, or when I know a little bit more. Hi, I am just going to bed. It's not even that late. It's only like 10:15. Oh my god, is my face like this in real life? So red. Oh, I'm so tired. I've been crocheting, and I've been listening to Bone China, and I was supposed to give you an update after 50%, but I have finished. This book was 11 hours, and I started listening to this on like 1.5 speed. It was still slow, so I kind of sped up to 1.8, and eventually I ended up listening to this on 2.2 speed. I think it's because they recorded quite slow. I never am able to listen to stuff on two speed. It's just too fast. But this one, I was just comfortable. So it literally took me less than 5 hours to listen to this, and also did 5 hours of crocheting, which is nice. I feel very accomplished today. Tired, but accomplished. So my thoughts. So this is a historical horror, historical thriller. This is what it is categorized as on Goodreads. And we follow this girl, Hester Y, and we first see her when she's traveling on a coach. I think this is like 19th century. and we follow her when she's traveling on a coach and there's an accident and she helps this man with the leg. And my assumption was that she is going to be kind of like a medic or a doctor or something like this, but obviously she has to hide because in those times women were not allowed to study, were not allowed to do anything like this. And we kind of later on find out that she's running away. And this book is divided in a few parts. And in the beginning, we see Hester when she arrives in that house in Cornwall, where she has this post of kind of like a lady's maid. And the woman that she's supposed to look after, Mrs. Pinecroft, she seems like she's had a stroke, so she doesn't really talk that much, and she mostly just sits in a chair and stuff. So she's supposed to look after her, and we see her there, and then we kind of go back to before she took this position in Cornwall, and she used to be a maid to quite a few families. And in the last one, it seems like she was very smitten with the lady of the house, and she kind of got obsessed a little bit with this woman as well, and she wanted her for herself. There's this scene, quite a weird one, when the lady of the house is taking a bath, and then she goes to dinner, and Hester, obviously this is not her real name, Hester Y is her pseudonym, and I can't remember her actual name. But when she's with that family, so the woman takes a bath and then she goes to dinner, and Hester undresses and she goes into this water. So we kind of see her like maybe she's not mentally stable. Maybe she has some issues, I'm not sure. So she feels like she wants her to herself, and she knows how to do different concoctions because her mother was a midwife, so she taught her how to look after women and also how to get rid of unwanted pregnancy and stuff like that. And the woman of that house, she has a miscarriage, and you kind of suspect that Hester had something to do with it. Anyway, she gets pregnant again, and then there's another woman that's been employed in this household, and she's kind of like a midwife, and she tells her like what not to do, what not to eat, what not to drink and whatnot. And Hester feels a little bit abandoned and lonely and jealous, and at some point she runs away from that house, and she steals something from that belonged to that lady that she was smitten with, and that's when she goes to Cornwall. In a way, I kind of don't see the connection. Why did we have to know what happened before? Because there is this scene when she opens this box that she stole and she looks at it and stuff like that, but I don't see a very clear connection between the Cornwall situation and what happened before in London or Salisbury or wherever she was from. So anyway, I kind of found it a little bit unnecessary. But anyway, so she's in Cornwall and like weird things are happening and stuff like that. And I have to say, like, the atmosphere in this book is very, very gothic, very dark. And you know, when you think of like Wuthering Heights, you know, very isolated setting, and it's I think beginning of the winter as well, because it's really cold, and then eventually it's snowing. So it's kind of like, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's very atmospheric, it feels very gothic, very heavy. And what Laura Purcell does perfectly in this book is to build this atmosphere of dread. And there's literally so much tension in this book because weird things are happening in the house, and there's a couple of very strange characters in the house as well. And yeah, so I think all this all together creates this very weird atmosphere. And you kind of also start asking yourself questions. Is she being gaslighted as well? Because at some point she literally, it seems like she's going crazy with all the things that are going on. So I think I really enjoyed this. What I didn't enjoy is the fact that even though things happen in here, we also go back 40 years before and we learn the story of the lady of the house and her father. And even though we kind of learn everything, I feel like we still don't get any answers at the end of the book. And I feel you can literally summarize this book in few words. Hester goes to a new job and where things happen, and then the end. This is how I feel about this book. It was interesting because I listened to this in literally one go. I was doing my blanket, I was listening to this. So it was really interesting, that atmosphere. I think what kept me going is the fact that I wanted to find out what the hell was actually happening in this story. And I never got my answers, which kind of makes me a little bit upset because, yeah. I don't know. I rated this book 3 stars. It's not bad if you like something very gothic, very Wuthering Heights and stuff like that. It's okay. It's a good read. But because I didn't get the resolution and the answers that I wanted, and I kind of felt like, what the hell? You know, this is the reason I'm only rating it 3 stars. 3 stars is a book that I still liked. So yeah, it's not a bad rating. 3 stars for me, it's still a good rating. But yeah, this is it. I'm glad I read it. This is the oldest book on my TBR. I mean, the book that I've had the longest on my TBR. So at least I can now take this off and move on to pastures new. Tomorrow I'm off, so I'm hoping to read the 150 pages of Grayson's Vow, and hopefully that will be the 5th book for this vlog, and then I will close this vlog, and then hopefully I'll be starting another one very, very soon. Okay, I'll catch you hopefully tomorrow when I finish Grayson's Vow. Good night. My people, I have finished reading Grayson's Vow, and oh my gosh, I literally had such a good time reading this book. It's like, yes, dragon, yes, little witch. This is what the characters called themselves in the book. And yeah, it might be a little bit cheesy, but you kind of, when you read the book, it kind of makes sense. And do you know what? Now I'm thinking, I've rated this book 5 stars, and how on earth did this book make its way from my self-destruct trolley to being a 5 star? And I'll tell you what, this book made me laugh a lot. It made me cry, especially a couple of scenes at the end of the book. And it was so wholesome as well, and not too cheesy. That's how it made its way to 5-star read. Kira and Grayson have such good chemistry and such good banter, and they start off as kind of like a marriage of convenience. They are going to share the money from Kira's inheritance. She needs to marry to release that money to herself, and he needs help after he was refused a loan from the bank to bring his vineyard to a working order as well. Kira feels guilty also because her father is, I think he was like a mayor of San Francisco, San Diego, something like this, and he was involved indirectly in something that happened in Grayson's past. So she feels guilty and she wants to help him out. And, you know, it starts as a marriage of convenience, but quickly they realize they really like each other. And it's just, oh my gosh, it was just such a fun read. Do you know what? I judged Mia Sheridan after reading Archer's Voice, and everybody was raving about this book, how great this book was, and I did like it, but I wasn't smitten with it, and I thought everything else was going to be the same. And then I read Travis in this vlog as well, and I loved it, and now Grayson's Vow, and I loved it as well. So yeah, don't judge the book by its cover or by the author. There might be some hidden gems. And also I'm thinking, like, who am I? How did I literally just rate a romance 5 stars? I don't really read romance, but now I actually cannot wait to start reading the other books by Mia Sheridan that I have. This one was so good. And also what helped, for me at least, was that it wasn't only like surface level thing. There was more going on behind the scenes. There was some tension created by by Kira's father and her evil ex-boyfriend. So I think all in all, just overall a very good book, a book that I really enjoyed. It's probably not everybody's cup of tea. Like, you know, it's normal. I might love something and you might hate it, but for me it was a really good book, and I absolutely loved every single moment spent reading this book. The other thing that I really liked about this book is the fact that it wasn't too smutty. I am someone that I don't mind it, but I don't actually look for books with smut. And there was one whole chapter here that I skipped because it was just very, very smutty. It was literally just the whole chapter. And I was reading this on my Kindle at work on my meal break, and I skipped it. I decided to skip it. I think even if I was reading it at home, I would still skip it because I'm not that interested in smut. So I think there was like that one chapter that I skipped, and there was like, I think 1 or 2 more scenes, but they were okay. They were not too smutty. So I think if you don't like smut, you will know when this chapter comes. No pun intended. Yes, so yeah, you will know. You will know. You can skip it if you don't like it, if you don't like reading smut. But yeah, I recommend this book. It was actually really good, and I will also recommend this to my mom, because what I do, I buy some books for my mother. The books that I've rated 4 or 5 stars, books that I really liked, I always get them for my mom, or I recommend them to my mom. So I'm hoping that she will read this one as well, because it was such a fun time. It was such a fun time. And now I am going to change the scenery and close this vlog. Hi, so we have another successful reading vlog, in my opinion. I started this episode with 20 books on my self-destructing trolley, and I've managed to read 4. DNF'd 1. But overall, I think it was a very successful vlog, a very successful reading journey, because I actually enjoyed the books that I was reading. The first unfortunate one was Haunting Adeline by HD Carton, and I actually DNF'd this book at about 33% or something like that. I think I've read just under 200 pages, and I hated that book. I hated what the characters represented in this book. I hated maybe hate is too much. I really disliked the female character. I really disliked the male character. I was going in my head and thinking, why are you even allowing something like this? And why are we as readers allowing romanticizing characters like they are here in this book? And it was just too much for me. I didn't enjoy it. This is not the type of stuff that I want to read. I DNF'd it, and normally I don't rate the books that I DNF, but this one I did, because surprisingly this book has a really good rating on Goodreads. And I'm thinking, how on earth has this book 4 stars on Goodreads? It is horrible. It is not worth your time. Do not read it. And if you DNF it, please mark it 1 star. I feel like we need to bring the rating down for this book, because the rating is what misled me. At the end of the day, each to their own. I didn't like this book. I absolutely hated this book, and it's not going to be staying on my shelves. And then we have Travis by Mia Sheridan, and this is a romance, a small town romance, and we follow Travis, who is a stepbrother of Archer from Archer's Voice. And the story of this book is happening a few years after, I think it's like 8 years after Archer's Voice. And it's a very typical small town romance, summer romance with a 3rd act breakup and stuff like that. It wasn't anything amazing, but it wasn't horrible. I rated this book 3 stars on Goodreads, and 3 stars for me is a book that I liked, I enjoyed, but there's nothing special about it. And yeah, I had fun with it, but it wasn't anything special. And then I have listened to Behind the Shoulder Pads by Joan Collins, and this is her memoir, one of her many memoirs, I believe. And this I actually rated 5 stars. I know some people say, oh, I don't rate memoir because you can't put a star rating on someone's life, but to me, I had such a good time listening to this book. This book was narrated by Joan herself, and I think there was a chapter or a couple of chapters narrated by her current husband, Percy. And I had such a good time listening to the stories, listening to the story of her life, how she grew up, how she was one of those evacuated children during the war. It was so interesting. And I think, yeah, it's a very interesting book. And the fact that it was narrated by her also made this book extra special for me, because if the author narrates their own book, they will read it as they would want us to hear it. Let's just say it's a long way of saying that I really enjoyed the narration. And again, yeah, I did rate it 5 stars. I don't care what people say. I put a rating on John Collins' book. I loved it. I had a really good time with it. And then the next book that I have read, book number 4, is Bone China by Laura Purcell. And that was my true TBR veteran. This book had been on my shelf for absolute donkey's years. I was kind of confused a little bit by this book because I don't think we have reached... It was a little bit anticlimactic for me. It was nice and gothic. It was very typical Laura Purcell's writing. Very gothic, very Wuthering Heights, like, you know, very heavy, oppressive atmosphere and stuff like that. And I enjoyed the atmosphere, but I just didn't see the point behind the story, how it ended and everything. It was still it was a quick read. I listened to this via audio, I believe, and I think I've managed to listen to this, I think, in one afternoon. I was doing my blankets and I was listening to this book, and it was a good narration, a very atmospheric book told in 3 different timelines, but not much really happened. And we basically follow Hester that goes to work as a caretaker for the lady of the house, and then while she's there, weird thing happens, and then the end. This is basically what happened in this book, in my opinion. So I didn't hate it. I think if it wasn't that really gothic-y and heavy, oppressive atmosphere, I think I would rated it lower. But it was a 3-star read for me. I don't hate that I read this book. I'm glad that it's out of my trolley, and I think it will be off my shelves as well. And then the last but not least, we have Grayson's Vow by Mia Sheridan, the second Mia Sheridan's book on my trolley. And actually, as you know, I loved it because it was the last book I was telling you about. So yeah, 5-star for this one. And yeah, generally, like I say, I had a really good time reading these books. My average rating for this set of books was 3.4 stars. So it's not bad, as you can see. It's only 1 DNF, which, like I said, I rated it 1 star because I think it deserved, the rating for this book deserved to be lower than it actually is on Goodreads. So yeah, these are the 5 heroes of this episode of my self-destructing books. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it if you did, and let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books. And if you haven't seen episode 1, if you are new here, then you should be seeing a video on the screen right now. For now, I thank you for watching. I'll go and choose my next 5 books, and I'll see you in episode 3. Bye!